If you know the real-life story of the Watcher, you know that the case remains unsolved. Let's break down the ending of the Netflix series and see if we can find out who the Watcher actually was. First, a quick recap of the finale. The 7th episode picks up with Nora and Dean Brannick starting over in New York City following the events at 657 Boulevard in Westfield, New Jersey. Free from threatening letters and with Nora's pottery career taking off, Nora eventually has a breakdown after discovering Dean charting another theory about the identity of the Watcher. Later on, Theodora calls Dean to her bedside where she confesses to being the Watcher the whole time. She claims that she bought the house and subsequently had to sell it to pay for her cancer treatments and concocted the elaborate scheme to get it back, all involving actors she paid to pose as the man who told Dean about Moe's blood cult and as the girl in pigtails who snuck into Dean's bedroom in the middle of the night. At Theodora's funeral, her daughter tells the Brannicks that her mother simply made the story up to give the family peace. Moving on, Karen buys the house, moves in, and promptly moves out amid a petrifying brush with the Watcher. The series ends as we see Dean finally in therapy, and all seems to go well until he brings up 657 Boulevard unprompted by his therapist. It's clear that, while the family moved on, the Watcher's grasp on the Brannicks hasn't, particularly Dean. The final scene shows him perched outside 657 Boulevard, feverishly watching as the new owner rifles through his mailbox. The once watched patriarch has become a new Watcher of sorts, but it's unclear if Dean gazes upon the man to see if he too receives a letter from the Watcher, or if he's keeping tabs on mail he might have sent his successors to continue the cycle. Dean then receives a call from an inquisitive Nora who wants to know how a job interview in the city went. Dean, who clearly didn't go, lies, telling her that he's on his way home but backed up in the Manhattan traffic. Dean pulls away and Nora pulls her car into the vacant spot, indicating that she too can't let go of the Watcher. Or perhaps she simply accepts that this is the only way to feel a spark of passion between them, tailing him as he follows the lead of his obsession. Still, the final episode leaves a few questions unanswered. Like the real case, the identity of the Watcher remains a mystery in the world of the show, as does the identity of the girl in pigtails who snuck into the bedroom as Dean slept. And we never push deeper into the moment at the Westfield Preservation Society meeting where Roger Kaplan appears to recognize John from somewhere, enough so that he knowingly asks him about how his family is doing. But unlike the true story, the Watcher actually lets us see the body of the sinister being. At first we see him, her, or them in fragments, cloaked in all black as we catch glimpses of the body in early episodes. As Karen settles into 657 Boulevard, we get our best view of the assailant when the figure kills her dog and rises from a secret trap door hidden under the staircase. After studying the silhouette, it was impossible to determine who among the cast could fit the outline of the Watcher, as the thick hooded cloak obscures the shape of their body. The shadowy human's usage of the secret passageway points us to Pearl Winslow and John Graff as likely candidates, as it was previously suggested that they were using the tunnels leading to 657 Boulevard. But things in the world of the Watcher aren't that simple, and they definitely aren't always as they appear on the surface. Having said that, it's entirely possible that every scene not directly featuring the Brannicks, including Karen's encounter with the Watcher, and even the Westfield Preservation Society's episode 7 meeting, are the Netflix series' attempt at blending the family's reality with fiction. It's certainly conceivable we could instead be viewing Dean's fantasies about what he thinks happened versus what actually transpired. Now, that's not to say the entire series is an imagined succession of events known only to Dean, but it's possible that we're seeing projections he desperately needs to see in order to fill the burden of mystery with his own answers. The same goes for the rest of the neighbors who spent the entire series keeping a watchful eye on the Brannick family. We catch bits and pieces of their backstories, expanded upon just enough to keep their presence both disturbing and familiar at the same time. It all adds to the unsettling atmosphere of uncertainty the show builds. Every character is far more sinister than we know, and that's what haunts us to the core through the finale. Now, the biggest question you might have after finishing this show is, was Dean Brannick becoming the Watcher in the end? During a therapy session, he brings up the house unprompted, and when he tells Nora he is at a job interview, he secretly revisits 657 Boulevard and watches the new inhabitants of the house as they collect their mail. However, this does not mean Dean is now the Watcher. For one thing, Dean doesn't do anything actively malicious. For another, Nora also visits the house immediately after he leaves, meaning she also hasn't been able to let go of the events that transpired there. Most importantly, although The Watcher follows Netflix's true crime show protocol and changes a lot of the facts, the show is still based on a real-life case, and the real people involved weren't accused of fabricating the letters, nor did they torment the next inhabitants of the home. As such, even with its fictionalized elements, it would be too much for The Watcher's ending to imply otherwise. The lack of resolution in the real-life story is the main reason The Watcher's ending can't simply unmask its villain. The Watcher casts suspicion on almost all of its characters and exonerates no one, precisely so that the Netflix show can prove that there is no knowing who the Watcher was, and that might be the scariest ending of all. Such ambiguity is in line with the tone of the article that laid the foundation for the show and one of the most prominent themes of the whole series. What's imagined is often far more powerful than what's physically present. Thanks for watching.